text. In the 1600s in Poland, Jews referred to this night as Mittelnacht, Nacht being night in the Yiddish, and Nittel being a word that dated all the way back to the period the rabbis in the early Talmud, the Rishonim, and it was a word they used that referred to Jesus, actually, Nittel, without actually naming Jesus. So they named this night Jesus Night, and they had a custom in Poland because it was a historically unsafe night. They developed a custom of gathering in each other's homes, playing cards and chess and all sorts of betting games all the way through the evening, and abstaining, believe it or not, from Torah study. The idea being that they wanted to dedicate the night to frivolity in some way. That evolved, and by the time we were in the late 19th and early 20th century in Western Europe, it was pretty common for Jews, particularly those of German descent, to celebrate Christmas. In 1825, Theodor Herzl, the founder of the idea of Zionism, modern Zionism, writes in his diary, "I was just lighting the Christmas tree for my children when Guterman, who was the chief rabbi of Vienna, arrived. He seemed upset by the custom. Well, I will not let myself be pressured," he wrote, "but I don't mind. He can call it a Hanukkah tree or a winter solstice celebration." So for those of us who are here on this Christmas Eve night, celebrating, as you might see here, this main community celebrating, I'm wondering, what is it your custom to do on Christmas Eve? What is the favorite thing that your family does? And I actually invite you to unmute if you would like. We would love to hear your voices in tonight's service. We are, of course, missing the voice of our beloved Beth as we think of her. And so we are going to fill our community tonight with voice in her honor. So is there a person who would like to unmute and add their voice to our community, telling us if your family or you personally have a custom for Christmas Eve that is your favorite? And I will tell you that my family just ate a lot of Chinese food, which my mother assures me I do wrong because I eat it on Christmas Eve, and she thinks it's a Christmas Day activity. So we're going to have a great Talmudic debate about that. Nan, did I see you unmute?
Yeah, we started a new custom this year. We bought a small Norfolk Island pine, and it's sitting on our table here, and Sue made paper doll angels, and I put that's the only decoration on it. And we're going to watch later. The Boston Gay Men's Chorus is doing a service with Arlington Street Church. Arlington Street Church in Boston. So because we love the chorus, we're going to attend that, even though we don't normally attend Christmas Eve services. But
how wonderful. How wonderful. I hope their voices fill you with contentment and connection.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amy?
We used to visit Tim's mom in Florida over Christmas, and it was always fun because she'd drive us all around to see the Christmas lights, which seemed very funny in Florida, to see these Santa, things in just like on a lawn, there was nothing even, vaguely resembling snow and little candy canes and stuff. And I remember her neighborhood got all decked out.
There you go. Visiting the lights, taking the tour of the lights, letting the beauty of the season get you, or the unintentional humor of the season, whatever. Whatever touches you. Anybody else want to tell us?
I have one more thing.
A rave. We'd love to hear from you.
Well, I come from the time when the thing the Jews did on Christmas Day was go to a movie and get Chinese, because those were the things that were open.
Go to a movie
I
and get
don't recall
Chinese.
anything about Christmas Eve at all.
Absolutely. Dan, yeah. Oh, you're still muted, unfortunately.
So I rather enjoy doing things. Well, I know you'll talk about Project Ezra as a Christmas Eve tradition, and wearing ugly sweaters and seeing fun lights, because there's nothing more fun than all of that. And spending time with family.
So, oh, Lynn, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah.
Anybody know what this is?
It's how Jewish
So
doctors spend
Yeah,
Christmas,
I'm-
right?
I'm on call often on Christmas, and the beeper just went off, so I'm going to turn myself off to take care of it. But I often do this on Christmas to help out everybody else.
There is no mitzvah greater than saving a life, and to help a friend enable their celebration. Lynn, thank you for being here and for doing what you do.
Yeah, and I'm really pleased because I agitated really widely around Winchester. A couple of us did, and got them to reinstate the mask mandate.
Ah, yay!
Good job.
Double mazel tov to you for the mitzvah there, Lynn. Thank you.
Yeah, all right,
so
I'll
much.
be back.
Bye, Lynn.
Dee Dee, did you raise your hand?
Let's see what we did today.
Today we gave food to people who don't have food for Christmas.
That's
Through Project
right.
Ezra.
Well, I was going to say, Dee Dee, thank you for sharing. Our family's favorite tradition, and Dee Dee said to me, we have the Christmas spirit, even though we don't celebrate Christmas in our family, by participating in Project Ezra, which this year delivered 550 meals to people in need, with 100 volunteers organizing and cooking and packing and decorating, 30 drivers or 30 cars delivering meals to 150 locations, as well as 2 shelters that were supported. So what an incredible mitzvah Temple Isaiah and Temple Shir Tikvah did to bring that light, that love, and that connection that is so needed in these dark days into the Christmas Eve. So I see Josh and Andy, and then we're going to light our own Shabbat candles.
Well, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
My
Shalom.
mother's birthday was December 25th. So this is always it was a plus and a minus for my mom, but it was a plus for us. And it was always a day off to be able to have some kind of a party or occasion. And this is the second year, the second December 25th that I won't have my mom.
Glad we have you here, Josh.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite silly memories is that one year I must have been a teenager. On Christmas Eve, my father asked me if I could give him one of my socks. And he nailed it up on the fireplace. And he wrote a note from Santa in Yiddish. And the next day, you know, he helped me decipher it.
Oh,
It's one of my fondest memories.
what a fabulous, fabulous memory. Thank you for sharing it with us, Judy. That is incredible. Wow. Well, with that memory, the gifts of connection, of joy, of laughter. I love the idea of Santa leaving notes in Yiddish. Let us light candles. I'm going to light on behalf of our community here. But if you have candles at home, I invite you to light your own candles at home. And please join with me in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And please join with me in making kiddush, a taste of sweetness. Maybe you have a mug of hot chocolate or something, glass of wine, whatever makes you feel cozy and comfy and surrounded by community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. I will admit that we showed up at K-Brada this week to buy our challah, and they did not make challah this week. So brioche rolls will serve in my family. We took a quick hop, skip down Mass Ave to see what Whole Foods had. They were also out of challah. Apparently there was a run on challah on Christmas Eve, is what I learned. So please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Doesn't taste so dissimilar from challah brioche, is what I just realized. So that question that Arev brought up, or that memory that Arev brought up of her favorite thing to do on Christmas, we have something to share with you tonight in honor of that memory.
Apprehended in the United States is...
No, I just asked you where you're at on Christmas.
You know, like all Jews, I was probably at a Chinese restaurant.
Great answer. Great answer.
You know, I could almost see that one coming, and I thought,
Me too. So you were celebrating
Senator Schumer explained this to me earlier.
Yeah, he did.
If I might, no other restaurants are open.
Right. You were with your family on Christmas Day.
So indeed, there is that custom that Arev spoke about on Christmas. The custom dates back to the days in the Lower East Side when it was populated by mostly Jewish and Chinese immigrants who lived there. And they were the two largest non-Christian immigrant groups in Manhattan at that time, at the turn of the century. And there's a wonderful book called The Search for General Cho's Tikkun, which I was reading in preparation for tonight. And the author says this, and I thought it was really interesting. Her name is Jennifer Lee. So although it's true that Chinese restaurants were notably open on Sundays and during the holidays when other restaurants would be closed, the two groups were linked not only by proximity, but also by otherness. Jewish affinity for Chinese food reveals a lot about immigration, history, and what it's like to be an outsider in this country. So I invite you, as you turn to your table tonight, I'm going to offer you brioche bread. It's delicious. As you turn to your table tonight with whatever it's filled with, to think about the foodways that formed your memories of this time, and to consider what they say, not only about you, but about the country you lived in, the time it came from, and what and how it has changed for you in your lifetime. So if anybody has a foodway or a custom that they're used to on Christmas, I invite you to share it now into our community. And Ashlyn is here. What did we have for dinner? You forget?
Chinese food.
Chinese food. We had Chinese food at home. So if you had anything special or eat anything special, please do let us know. You can use the chat function of the technology. Let us know what you're having for dinner tonight. Sticky buns on Christmas Day. Tim, I want you to know that my dough is rising right now. Sticky buns are on the menu for tomorrow morning. I forgot to tell her. They're like cinnamon rolls. So with the thoughts of whatever it is that will be filling our bellies and hopefully making us feel that connection of food and love and warmth and satiation, we turn to the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah ve'almad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Bagala u'vizman kariv v'meru amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olamo me'omaya Yitbarach ve'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei dekudasha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiram be'alma v'meru. Amen. Thank you for helping me. So as we turn, Ashlyn is not drinking wine. Ashlyn is drinking OJ. I have OJ. There is a very Brooklyn small story where Ashlyn got confused in the Oneg room one night. Do you remember this?
Yeah, and I drank.
She went to the wrong end of the Oneg table. Remember when we used to have the juice at one end and the wine at the other? Well, Ashlyn confused left and right as about a 5-year-old and just shot a cup of wine. No way around it.
No, the cup of wine was on the juice's side.
It was on the wrong side. We think it was a misplaced cup of wine. There were many tears, but we are okay about it now, and we fill all cups with OJ.
That's so funny.
So as we turn and prepare for the Shema, I think this Christmas night, it is so important for us to remember that we are one of a religious tradition. Can you be a little bit? Thank you. Searching for light and hope and in dark times. So while it is not our custom to celebrate holiday today, it is in fact a communal instinct, a human instinct, I think, to look for light in this season. So let us look for all that connects us rather than all that separates us on this day. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. And we continue with the Ve'ahavta, the acts of love that are commanded of us in response to that unity of life. And in fact, most religious traditions share a teaching akin to the Ve'ahavta that says, that which is hateful to you, don't do to others. That which you love, offer to those around you. So let us concentrate on those acts of love that we have received and that we can offer as we chant this prayer together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. So I'd like to share with you an oldie but a goodie from this season that I personally think never gets old. The Chinese Restaurant Association of the United States would like to extend our thanks to the Jewish people. Of course, I have no idea if this was ever truly posted in a Chinese restaurant window, but it comes around on Facebook every year and it makes me giggle. But this year it made me do more than giggle. It actually made me sort of tear up a little. Because actually, it's so easy to see customs that we don't understand and either ignore them or be afraid of them. And instead, with curiosity and love, this restaurateur decided to say, thank you. Thank you for letting me be a part of something. So I am wondering what act of love or gratitude you might commit yourself to in this next week. As we look ahead, is there an act of love, of gratitude that you might commit yourself to?
Can I see the one that we just did today, the dropping off
You
meals?
can say that. You want to say that one?
We dropped off meals.
Mm-hmm. So maybe this week we should do it again. What do you think?
Yeah.
You don't just have to do it on Christmas, right?
Uh-huh.
That's right. What else? Does anybody else want to unmute and offer a way they are planning on or hoping to offer love and gratitude in this upcoming week?
I started
Everybody who hasn't done so already should give to the High Fund.
Oh, Lynn. Yeah, an opportunity to support Temple Shir Tikvah, and we didn't even put you up to that, Lynn.
Yeah. It's part of the new hat I have. I have to wear the hat proudly.
Oh, what was the offer?
To support Temple Shir Tikvah, which makes Judaism accessible to everybody, no matter what. Thank you, Lynn.
Well, I had a chance to reach out and do an act of love this week. We recently went to a wedding, and there were some relatives there with rather different views of the world than ours. One of them said that he had been seeing some videos online. You always shudder when you hear those words. Seeing some videos online saying that climate change is no big deal. I reminded him about fires in California and floods and stuff. But I did not ask him to tell me about the videos, and I realized that later. So I wrote back to him some email and said, please let me know what videos you've been watching. I would love to watch them, take them seriously.
Oh, to meet somebody where they are. What an incredible act of love, especially, Andy, when it's an issue you're so passionate about, to be able to put that away and still meet them. What an act of love. Incredible. Thank you for sharing. Dan.
I started a new custom today. Some of my friends who are disabled or dealing with chronic illness and who don't see a lot of people in their lives who celebrate Christmas, I called up and wished them a Merry Christmas. And it was really actually lovely because of their situations, they often don't answer the phone right away. And the two people I called both answered the phone immediately. And we had a nice half an hour discussion. So it was lovely.
Oh, connecting with those in need of connection in this time. That's very Israeli, Nan. I'll tell you, they spend all day the day before Chag on the phone calling everybody they know. So this is you've got it down right there. Dan.
So one thing that I'm doing both this past week and this coming week is giving the gift of life of donating platelets and plasma. So it's a way to support things and encourage those who can to do so. There's certainly a huge need for it.
A huge need, and thank you. I know you do that regularly on the calendar, and thank you for reminding us that we can do it as well.
What is he talking about?
Donating blood. You're too young.
I know.
I'm a platelet donor too.
I would never want to do that.
And Lynn is as well. So
Ditto for me.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And hopefully one day soon we'll be able to run Temple Shir Tikvah blood drives again. But let us, with all of these acts of love and gratitude, turn to the words of our Amidah together in community. Adonai, Sifatai Tifta, Ufi Agitzilatecha. Turn, O God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol atah Rav Lehushia. Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim. Tomech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gerurot, Umido Melech, Melech Memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua. chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukedoshim b'chol yom yalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Tonight is the night when we celebrate a baby boy born to impoverished parents with no place safe to keep him at his birth. I speak, of course, tonight of Moses, who was born in this week's parsha in a time of deep danger. He was born at a time when Pharaoh had decreed death to all the male Israelite babies and said that they should be thrown into the water. It is this week that we read the story of the amazingly brave Shifra and Pua, the women midwives, the Israelite midwives who lied to Pharaoh, who had been commanded to hurt those babies upon their birth. And when they refused to do so, Pharaoh called them to him and said, "Why are you not doing as I say?" And they bravely lied to the most powerful human being on earth, as far as they could tell, maybe even a God on earth, in their understanding, depending on if they were indeed Israelite or just serving the Israelites. And they said to him, "Oh, those women, they give birth before we can get there." And so they hide the babies. This wasn't true, but babies were being born. And we read of Moses's mother who gives birth to a baby boy, child meant to be a slave with no freedom in his future and maybe not even life. His mother creates an ark, a little basket, but the same word as the ark, and places the baby into the basket and puts it on the Nile. The daughter of Pharaoh, Bat Pharaoh, who is never even given a name, we just know her as daughter of Pharaoh, lifts this baby out of the Nile and says, "This must be one of the Israelite babies." She knows what kind of baby this is. She is saving, one who has been condemned to death by her father, and yet she lifts him out. She chooses to raise him as her own and she says, I will call him Moses because from the water I drew him. Now, Sforno comes along, a commentator 1200 years later comes along and speaks about the selection of that name, Moses, because from the water I have drawn him. And Sforno teaches us, the reason why I called him this, from the water I have rescued him, was so that in turn, he would rescue others from their problems. So just as I have pulled him out and up, he will pull others out and up. Sforno says that baby Moses and his mother Bat Pharaoh considered it a decree by a higher power. That Moses is,
And God.
yes, the higher power being God, and just a little careful because of the candles, right? Not at all dangerous. No, very dangerous. Luckily, not everybody just saw us have a fire. We're good. We're good. We're lighting the lights tonight, folks. Everybody in Shir Tikvah, take a deep breath with me. Whew, crisis averted. Okay, but can you be safe with my body while I'm talking? Thank you. So Moses was saved, according to Sforno, only that, or only so that, he could become an instrument in saving others. Now, you all know me and you know my theology well enough, I think, at this point to know that I'm not suggesting, or I don't even think Sforno is suggesting, that our hardships are decreed for a purpose, but rather that in our hardships, sometimes we find purpose. In our hardships, in the parts that are the darkest parts of our lives, in the things that there was no guidebook for when we encountered them, and that, boy, could we have used one, we sometimes find that we become the guide for ourselves and for others. And so my question for each of us this week is, what is it that we have been brought out from that we can use as a model for ourselves and for others so that we become a blessing from that place? With that question in our hearts, we turn to the Mourners Kaddish, knowing that so many are facing such a hard place right now, physically because of COVID, literally, and also in our hearts because of the exhaustion of this time. I invite you to use the chat function of the technology you are using to join us, to share the names of those you are praying for, bringing them into our sacred community. Our community prays for Jane Arnold, for Myra Gordon, Mary McManus, Marla Weiner, Neil Albert, Mike Weinhold, Debbie Sachs-Buteau, Marianne Demers, Gina Huang, Jessica Klein, Matt Figelman, Kathy Grossman, Fred Moses, Adam Gelb, Danny Blair, Joyce, Roberta Lasky, Roger Landay, Roz Hoffman, Stanley Roth, Patty Richard, Diana Sanders, Andy Cassell, Harry Menko, Jessica Guertin, Denise Pappas, Joyce and David Adamson, Tom Alexander, Joyce Catania, Susan Zimmerman Innie, Arlene Norris, Jeff Wisnia, Deb Midman, Neil Daniels Midman, Susan Trendall, Melissa Martin and her daughter, Pat Lazar, Harriet Levy, Ann Pillow, Junie Donaldson, Alan and Joanne Travis, Fiona Sutton, Norman and Fran Waxler, Sue Boardman, Angela Panzone, Nancy Alpert, Debbie Gilman, Patty Shepard, Jennifer Chase, Ellen Lee, Vicki Oman, Barbara Coulinane, Elizabeth Wall, Anya Cobble, Annie Graham and her daughter Sandy, Rich and Joan Richmond, Ken Blumberg, Ayelet Bat-Chava V'her Shmuel, Claude Lieber, Nancy Lazaro Lieber, Kathy Nath, Ron Lee, Richard and Phyllis Ullman, Jonathan and Meira Tabell, Rick Alexander, Dan Berman, Rob Hodges, and Jim Casey. With all of these names, we turn to these words, we turn to each other, we turn to those who are ill. We call out as Moses called out, praying for healing, promising presence. When the world is sick, can't no one be well? And I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can't no one be well? And I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. Ana Elna Rifanala, Ana Elna Rifanala, Ana Elna Rifanala, Ana Elna Rifanala. When the world is sick, can't no one be well? And I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can't no one be well? And I dreamt we were all beautiful and strong. We move into the concluding prayers of our service, turning our hearts to each other and those who have experienced a loss at this season. It is customary not to say Mourners Kaddish in someone's honor until the burial has taken place. And so I will just lift up that we are thinking of Beth and Sandy Joe as they mourn Al, but know as they think of him and learn how to say goodbye.
Mourn Al.
Yeah, his name was Al. Beth's daddy's name was Al. And so we are thinking of them and their whole family. And we know that the funeral will be on Sunday. We send our love to all of them. We are in the period of Shloshim for Dr. Joe Berman. observing the yard site of Robert Schwartzman, Tom Schwartzman's dad, and in the year of remembrance for Jack Langerman, Gladys Schuker, Roberta Lipperman, and Michael Slonim. If there is somebody you are remembering whose name you would like to bring into our community, I invite you to use the chat function of the technology you're using to join us to share that person with us. Tim and Linda, we are with you in this time. Let us become one community of memory with the words of Mourners Kaddish. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as is your custom.
I want to rise in body.
Sounds good. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirte v'yamlich malchute, v'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach leolam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiram be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'yimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates peace on high give us and all who live on this earth an opportunity to experience peace. And I thought we could close with those words tonight, Oseh Shalom. Does anybody have an Oseh Shalom tune that they particularly love? I think, we have the one here that goes, may the one who makes peace above. Does that sound good to everybody? Now I have to remember how it starts. Who's going to help me with that? Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Is that it? Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who makes peace above make peace descend on all of us, and Yisrael. Let us say amen. Let us say amen. Let us say amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And thank you
Thank
for
you.
understanding about my child alongside me. We had a different child having a need at the moment, so it was, there were just not enough hands on. So thank you for